Welcome to our discussion, folks. Let's dive into why feeling overwhelmed has become such a common experience these days.
Absolutely. It's something nearly everyone can relate to. What's the initial idea behind this whole overwhelming feeling?
Well, it really starts with our daily lives being jam-packed. Deadlines at work, family responsibilities, social engagements, and our personal ambitions can quickly pile up so that everything feels too much.
Indeed. Right. And it's not just about having many tasks, is it? There seems to be a blend of physiological and emotional responses at play.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like this, when you hit that point where stress overloads you, your brain's prefrontal cortex, that's the part responsible for rational thinking, starts to slow down, while the amygdala, the emotional hub, kicks into high gear.
Yep, that's fascinating. So, in a way, your brain literally shifts gears from a thinking mode to a more, reactive mode.
Right. And, that explains why folks often experience physical symptoms when they're overwhelmed. Think shallow breathing, chest pressure, racing heartbeat, even sweating.
Very relatable. And we also see that stressed state manifesting in our behaviors, like procrastination or feeling powerless in decision making, correct?
Exactly. At first, it might seem like simple procrastination, but over time it can really, take over, making small decisions feel monumental.
Right on. It's interesting how the article draws a clear line between stress and overwhelm, isn't it? Stress can sometimes even be a motivator, while overwhelm completely hinders our ability to function.
Yeah, right. Stress can be, that motivating impulse, like eustress, that keeps us on our toes during a challenge. However, when it becomes chronic and overbearing, it shifts into overwhelm, and that's when it no longer propels you forward, but stops you cold.
Exactly. What about the signs? The article outlines a whole range of symptoms, from mental fog to physical tension.
Absolutely. For instance, if you're finding it hard to focus, decision-making becomes almost paralytic, and even minor stresses trigger outsized reactions like sudden anger or unexpected tears. These are solid signals.
Yep, I've seen that happen. And then you've got, physical messages too. Tight shoulders, a clenched jaw, headaches. It's as if the body is crying out for relief.
Exactly. And it's important to note that these responses aren't one size fits all. They vary from person to person. Our emotional and physical responses are as unique as our stress triggers.
Right, for sure. So, diving deeper, what are some root causes that might push someone into feeling constantly overwhelmed?
Well, there are a few major ones. First and foremost, taking on too many tasks and responsibilities. Sometimes we simply say yes too often and overload ourselves.
That sounds so familiar. Significantly, life changes also play a role, right? Like moving to a new city or starting a new job. Those transitions can be both exciting and, incredibly taxing.
Precisely. And alongside those, traumatic events or even trying something entirely new, something that pushes us out of our comfort zones, can also ignite this overwhelming
Indeed,
state.
it's like you're given a challenge that's, a bit too large to manage all at once. Speaking of challenges, some might argue that a bit of being overwhelmed can spur growth, yet the article strongly warns against its long-term consequences.
Correct. It's a balancing act. While occasional stress challenges us, chronic overwhelm can seriously impact both mental and physical health. It may even lead to a decline in self-care, impaired decision-making, social withdrawal, and increased fatigue.
Absolutely. And, those consequences extend beyond just feeling tired. They can affect your overall productivity and even affect your relationships.
Right, because when you're overwhelmed, you might miss self-care routines or avoid social interactions, leading to feelings of isolation.
Yep, definitely. It's almost like a feedback loop where one symptom feeds into another, intensifying the entire experience.
Exactly. Plus, let's not forget how certain mental health issues, anxiety, depression, even ADHD, can exacerbate these overwhelming feelings.
It's like a perfect storm sometimes. And interestingly enough, the article also touches on how personal health conditions interplay with this sense of overwhelm. That really paints the bigger picture, doesn't it?
True, it's not just external stressors, but also internal factors that can contribute. When your mental health is tugging you down, handling life's pressures becomes even tougher, which creates a vicious cycle of overwhelm.
Right, exactly. Now, shifting gears a bit, how can someone break out of this cycle? What coping strategies are suggested?
There are several practical steps. One of the simplest yet hardest to implement is learning to say no. Recognizing that you can't do everything is key.
Yeah, that's often a real challenge. I know many folks struggle with that, feeling guilty about turning things down even if it's necessary.
Exactly. And by setting boundaries, you're essentially safeguarding your energy. It's like creating a protective bubble that keeps the overwhelming external pressures at bay.
Very insightful. Another interesting point is ditching the all or nothing mindset. It's easy to feel like everything must be executed perfectly, which only adds to the strain.
Yes, exactly. When you allow yourself room for imperfection, say, getting 70% there is sometimes enough, you're less likely to burn out chasing a perfect result.
Right, that's a game changer for many. I do wonder, though, if sometimes this approach might come off as a bit dismissive of high performance expectations. Some might say that aiming for perfection is the only way to succeed.
Well, that's a fair critique. Yet I'd argue that unsustainable perfectionism often leads to overwhelm rather than high performance. Sometimes, meeting realistic targets can, in fact, build up your capabilities over the long term without draining you completely.
I see your point there. And what about strategies like meditation and prioritizing sleep? They seem almost universal in managing stress effectively.
Absolutely. Meditation, mindfulness, and ensuring quality sleep. These are essential tools. When you properly sleep, you're recharging your brain's ability to manage stress, and meditation helps clear out the mental clutter.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's really like treating your mind and body as instruments that, when well tuned, can handle even the most chaotic symphony of life.
Exactly. It's like tuning a musical instrument. You need to ensure every string is aligned to create harmony, not dissonance.
That's a vivid analogy. And finally, the article suggests seeking support. Working with a coach or therapist can provide tailored strategies to help shift that overwhelming burden.
Right. Getting a little external guidance can really help put those stresses into perspective, offering actionable ways to build resilience.
Absolutely, no one should have to tackle this all alone. It sounds like the key is about granting yourself permission to prioritize, adjust, and, sometimes even accept that not everything will be perfect.
Exactly. It's about embracing the reality that while challenges will always exist, you can control your reactions to them, whether it's by saying no, practicing mindfulness, or seeking help when needed.
Right, yes. This conversation really highlights that overwhelm isn't just a sign of weakness or inability. It's a signal, a kind of wake-up call to reevaluate how we manage stress.
Absolutely. And understanding the roots of your overwhelm gives you the power to address it head on. It's like having a roadmap through the complexity.
Indeed. And, it's encouraging to know that actionable steps can make a real difference in our well-being and productivity.
Precisely. From simple boundary setting to adopting a mindset shift, every small change can help restore clarity and balance.
Yep, every step counts. It really gives hope that even if life feels overwhelming at times, there are concrete paths to feeling less swamped.
Absolutely. And remember, it's perfectly okay to adjust and pause. Sometimes the best progress is made when you give yourself the space to breathe.
Very true. Thanks for this. It's been an insightful discussion on a topic that resonates with so many.
Thank you too. Let's all try to take one step at a time and remind ourselves that we have the tools to manage the overwhelm. One breath, one decision, one moment at a time.
Yep, that's the key.